While the Souls games and Bloodborne are iconic for their hard difficulty and steep learning curves, the music is another aspect that stands out as something that changes from game to game, sometimes quite considerably. Demon Souls has quiet, tame music. Dark Souls 1 and 3 have a more fast and loud-paced music. Bloodborne has great music that's even better when it's accompanied by sound effects. And Dark Souls 2 just sucks in every aspect. Let's start with the first one, Demon Souls. The composer, Shunsuke Kida, is relatively unknown due to the fact he hasn't composed many other games, or any other shows, or anything. What he produced in Demon Souls was relatively calm in comparison with the other games. While it's not blasting you with sound, it gives you more memorable songs that build up the longer you fight, say, a boss, such as Phalanx, adding in more rhythm and drums that, in my mind, makes the songs stand out. It helps that it's fairly repetitive too, which reminds me of some songs heard in Dark Souls, like the Taurus Demon or Asylum Demon music. While some future bosses in the later games have tame music like Demon Souls, they're not nearly as gripping or hold a lot of emotion like the battle against Maiden Astrea. Sakuraga's Dark Souls soundtrack is full of amazing songs that are intense, fitting, and just damn catchy. Certain songs, when you hear them, you immediately know which boss it belongs to. While a lot of the songs are similar in tone throughout the game, it comes as a real change when you fight the final boss Gwyn, where you're greeted with a sad, slow song. When you know the weight of the story behind Gwyn, it makes the song all more fitting and becomes the perfect final boss music when they could have easily gone with something hyped up and over the top. And while many RPG gamers know Motoi's work from Valkyrie Profile and Star Ocean, I didn't realize it was his work until much later, as the difference between those games and these games is quite something. It gives me more reason to respect him, knowing that he could pull off work that is unlike his other music. Now, I praised him for Dark Souls 1, but not 2. 2 is a lazy mess in many aspects, and not just the music. The game is a mess. There's hardly anything memorable in regards to bosses or characters, aside from Lucatiel, and the music is drab and boring. It's the bad kind of slow and fails to pull you in. Remember this thrilling song? It's all over the place and has random instruments pop in and out. It's just a mess, like I said. I think the one song I like is Majula. Despite having a slew of different composers, Bloodborne's music doesn't feel jarred or out of place. Everything has a theme, and they all stick to it. The music gradually gets more and more eerie and unsettling, adds in some howls and wails from the bosses, and you have made something pretty awesome. DLC came out. The music is amazing, with great pairings of musics to bosses. Whether it's the boss you're fighting, or the setting the fight is located in, such as the fight with Maria in the clock tower, where you can hear bells and a sense of movement from the pace of the music. Each song also evolves into something more intense as the fights progress, putting the bosses into stronger forms as their health diminishes. Bloodborne's music has layers, and with the transitions, it feels almost like a completely different song at times. Now that we have Dark Souls 3, which pulls on composers from Dark Souls and Bloodborne, giving a great team with a lot of potential. I think Matoi's signature Souls music comes in the form of a rushed pace, where you feel pressure as the music ramps up. This was delivered in Vort's boss music, where it starts out pretty standard. Dark Souls 3 takes a chapter from Bloodborne's book, and when Vort's health gets to a certain point, the music changes into this fast-paced greatness. It reminds me of the Taurus Demon music in Dark Souls 1, where it sounds frantic and stresses the player out a bit. Did for me, at least. Dark Souls 3 is closely connected to 1 in that some boss themes are definitely inspired by Dark Souls 1's, such as the Moonlight Butterfly or Gwendolyn's music in 1 being used for Aldrich the Devourer in 3 for obvious reasons. Even the final boss music touches on Gwyn's theme. Again, for obvious reasons. The music I enjoyed the most in 3 was the music done by Yuka Kitamura, who was pulled from the Bloodborne team to help out. She's damn good at slow, gradually building songs, such as The Dancer of the Boreal Valley, but my personal favorite song in the entire soundtrack is The Abyss Watchers. It ticks all my favorite things. It has meaning behind the boss, it's totally not in your face, it builds, the sound of bells is just pure awesome. So if I had to rank the music, it would go as follows. Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3 and Demon Souls are pretty much tied for like high up there. And Dark Souls 2 just stays there and sucks.